This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's TGI Friday, February 7th. I'm here with Al, Brandon, Lindsay, and I'm Tori. Let's get right to it. Gayle King, we are still talking about her again, is being called out by celebrities and defended by Oprah. It is all over an interview Gayle did with WNBA player Lisa Leslie, during which she questioned Leslie about Kobe Bryant and his 2003 rape case. Gayle was angry with her own network, if you remember, CBS, over this promotional clip it ran. CBS has now responded, saying that it was changing internal processes to address the issue. Meantime, we have a big surprise for you. Oprah was on the Today Show talking very candidly about how Gayle, her best friend, is doing. Let's take a look.
She is not doing well. May I say she is not? She is not doing well because she has now death threats and has to now travel with security. And she's feeling very much attacked.
But other celebrities like Snoop Dogg see the opposite. They are slamming Gayle. Watch this.
We expect more from you, Gayle. Don't you hang out with Oprah? Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after Harvey Weinstein asking them dumb questions.
So in another post, Snoop references Oprah and the Michael Jackson documentary, ending the post by saying, quote, "Free Bill Cosby." And now Bill Cosby himself is weighing in, posting this to Instagram from prison somehow, saying, quote, "It's so sad and disappointing that successful black women are being used to tarnish the image and legacy of successful black men, even in death." So this story obviously has legs. You have been going sort of viral every day about this. What is your take about seeing a crying Oprah defending Gayle?
So this is so layered. I'm just trying to unpack it and take my time. And I wrote down a lot of stuff, so I just want to be transparent with you guys. So first of all, we can't just attack Gayle and start death threatening her and, you know, making her feel uncomfortable online. I think there's a way to communicate it, and it gets lost, like I say, when Snoop Dogg starts cursing her out. And so even though he might not do anything, when she's getting death threats, we have to pull back a little bit. That idea can also exist with the idea that we think that she was too pushy in that interview, and we think that she handled it poorly. So those two things can coexist.
They can be mutually, they're not mutually exclusive.
Right, and then the other narrative that Oprah and Gayle are attacking all black men, I can't support that, because I just sat on this panel and said we can't sum up Kobe Bryant's legacy by one thing. So Oprah has sent 400 black men to Morehouse College and paid their full tuition. Oprah has also employed mostly black people on her Oprah Winfrey Network. So how can we just make that the narrative about her based on these couple moments? I would love if they do an in-depth interview explaining some of their choices. And then this is also a layered conversation, because I think as black people, we've been so systematically oppressed that we're never in these high spaces. So when you make it to a certain point in life, you don't want to be the black person to pull down the person who made it, quote unquote.
Because you're saying there's so few that actually get there.
Right, so if you're Gayle King or anybody who's doing the interview that looks like it's shining a negative light on anybody African American, I understand the pushback, because it's like, finally we got somebody here, and you know, you don't want to be the person to pull them back. So this is just a lot to talk about, but I think I'm happy that we're even having the conversation.
Very nuanced. I am too. You guys agree with Lindsay?
I do, and also you have to understand that it's difficult for black men to emote. It's very difficult. I saw it when my father passed away, just getting the text messages from my friends. They couldn't even really express themselves, the phone calls, the voicemails, the kind of stunted sentences, difficult to emote. So a lot of times that comes out as anger. But what Snoop Dogg was, what Lil Bootsy was, what all of them were, they were hurt. They were hurt that their one icon was taken down a week after. I don't even think he's been laid to rest yet. So that's sometimes pain manifests itself in anger. It manifests itself in bad language.
That's a good point.
But let's not lose the fact, you know, you weren't saying this at all, but let's not lose the fact that this is just a lot of pain. Everybody's still trying to unpack, like you said, and struggle and deal with the emotions of the fact that he said it in his tweet, his superhero is dead. And all we're talking about is a case from 17 years ago. So I think that that's what we're dealing with now. What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, it's one of those things where different people have ways to communicate, you know, and there's a Snoop Dogg way of doing it. There's a Lindsey Granger way of doing it. There's an Al Jackson way of doing it. And I think the way this is playing out, it's making us as a people look worse, you know, because look how we're playing out on the national news right now. We got Snoop Dogg with a do-rag on,
to be honest, Brandon,
cursing at her.
I think it just becomes a very nuanced, layered, complex conversation. I think it's something we needed to have. I'm glad we had it. I'm glad it's out there.
Right.
But if you believe in Brandon, please let us know. Please write us in.
And we're not okay in the death threats. We're just saying that it comes from a place of anger and
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Well, the coronavirus is causing big problems for cruise ships. This is a turn, obviously. This Royal Caribbean ship is supposed to dock today in New Jersey, but about a dozen Chinese nationals on board are in isolation out of fears that they've caught the coronavirus. All passengers will be assessed for the virus, according to the CDC. Meantime, 2 other cruise ships have been quarantined, one off the coast of Japan and another in Hong Kong. You can see the corridors of the Diamond Princess cruise ship near Tokyo are empty as 61 passengers have tested positive, including a number of Americans. More than 3,700 passengers are on board. But that did not stop this passenger and her family from venturing out on deck, while others reportedly are scared and angry at being trapped. I just read the New York Times, and they just interviewed someone. A lot of people are being held in windowless rooms, unable to even breathe fresh air, even with the mask on. So they are now trying to at least assume some rights for those passengers to somehow get at least a break for about 5 minutes to go up and get a breath of fresh air. If I were on that cruise ship, I would have lost my livid mind.
Right,
I mean, my mother would be like freaking out.
But you're using the word I, and this is the time we should be using the word we, the collective we.
Why is that?
I don't care if you have a windowless room. I don't care what we need to do to make sure that we contain this. Are you going to be uncomfortable? Yeah, break your iPad out. But for you to go up and get that 5 minutes of fresh air, and you might come in contact with somebody that's immunocompromised, I don't think that's fair. Is this
Should they not have any rights then, Al?
I'm not saying they don't have any rights. I'm saying in an emergency situation, your rights do go away, and that there is protocol for that. If there was an emergency, like it appears that this is, there is a protocol, and some of your rights do go away.
I wonder if we've etched that out well enough. Like the airplane people, when they're stuck on that runway, they've got to have some kind of rights. It can't just be whatever they think. They're still Americans.
They better sneak out and find where the booze is.
I think there's an open bar.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Well, a new study is showing a record number of Americans. What do you guys think? Satisfied or unsatisfied with life?
Satisfied.
A number of Americans are satisfied with life. According to the latest Gallup poll, 9 in 10 Americans are satisfied or very satisfied with their lives. That number is highest among wealthy, married Republicans.
Isn't it always like that?
But even non-white...
When are they ever bummed out?
I know. Even non-white single Democrats reported 86% satisfaction rate.
That's because of Tinder.
Oh, Lord. Oh, I'd love the commentary. But we want to know what you think. So how satisfied are you with your life? We want you to go to dblvote.com. So are y'all happy with your lives?
Absolutely, especially after we just saw Kobe Bryant die. You know, it's one of those things where you better be satisfied with your life. Because I was listening to this sermon by T.D. Jakes the other day, and he was talking about how being a visionary can really affect your happiness from time to time, because you're looking at where you want to be instead of where you are right now or where you've come from. So it's one of those things where you better put a smile on your face, go outside, and hug somebody.
And don't you guys just think people are just taking more risks now, doing what makes them happy? The whole self-care idea has been like a huge philosophy.
I do.
Yeah,
people are just doing what they want to do, so
Treat
maybe that's part of the
yourself.
reason.
You're absolutely right.
I think it's because you can find what you're into. When I was at, well,
you've been played off completely.
This is the second day you already got played off.
They're in the middle, guys. They're in the middle. Somewhat satisfied. DBL, we are live as Al keeps talking, and coming up, we sit down.
I'm very satisfied. I'll tell you guys.
Okay, with Bill Pullman. Shut up, Al, to get the scoop on the popular show, The Sinner. And could there be another Spaceballs in the future? I can't with this man. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. So convicted felon Bernie Madoff swindled billions of dollars, and now they say he's dying behind bars. Should he be released?
No.
What about other inmates on their deathbed? Your comments coming up next. Are you done?
No.
Okay.
This February, ask the one you love to be mine and get away to a Sandals Resorts luxury included Caribbean vacation. Watch Daily Blast Live every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night romantic escape for 2. The winner will be announced on DBL February 26th. What better way to say be mine?
Hi everyone, that sandals contest is a really good one. I wish I could win it. Unfortunately, I can't. But hey, make sure you pay attention every weekday, because there will always be a new word up there, a word of the day, and all you have to do is send it in. It's super simple, and you could have a chance to win an amazing vacation for your love. And even if you're single, hey, take that vacay. Let's go. Hi, guys.
I think we can tell this is a fun story.
How's it going?
By the way,
Are we on? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Aspen Lipka wrote in. I think this is a great name.
That's a great name.
Oh, sorry, Lipska. Excuse me, Aspen. Aspen is a good name.
That sounds like a name I would check into a hotel under.
Yes. What if your name is Aspen Vale? Okay, my bad. Here we go. He says, Bernie Madoff to not be rude. Wait, Bernie Madoff to not be rude. And he says, Sarah families that have... Okay, I'm so sorry I don't understand that. Try writing it again.
Okay.
But what I think more people are going to say is, no, Bernie should not get out of jail.
Right.
That's my thought.
I don't think your sentence should change. And I don't want to step on what we're going to talk about. Your sentence should change because things aren't going well for you. You had no concern for other people. I mean, he bankrupted people that worked their entire
His
lives.
son committed
Wait, isn't this the fifth host?
Yeah, so we'll talk.
Well, we're giving this, a little insight.
Brandon, are you happy with your personal life? I feel like you are.
Yeah, man, because, and I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were like, through text, like, how are you? And I started listing off, like, oh, this work there, I got offered this job, and they were like, no, how are you personally?
Whoa.
But work ties in so much to my life because it's a blessing to be able to do what I do, and it awards me different opportunities, money to go travel, go see different things. So, I mean, other than the doctor saying I got high cholesterol.
A lot of wealthy people are unhappy. But so, like, I don't think it's a slam dunk that you be happy. I think it says more about you that you not only recognize all your blessings, but that you're able to say them out loud and recognize them as it's coming to you. I think a lot of people that seemingly have the world, especially if you looked at their resume, would be very unhappy people. So I don't want you to take that for granted. It's a good thing that you recognize it in real time.
And I hope I keep that for the rest of my life.
Naomi, if you're watching.
Hard-hitting analysis.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host. And as the week wraps up, a different Bernie is making headlines. We're not feeling this burn, huh?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Rather the weekend one.
That's right. Criminal mastermind Bernie Madoff. You might remember him. He wants to get out of prison early because of terminal kidney failure. He says he only has 18 months to live. You'll remember he's behind bars for orchestrating the largest financial fraud in U.S. history. So, DBL Nation, do dying inmates like Madoff deserve a break? Lindsay, let's hit it.
All right, Kelly from Facebook says, I don't get why this is a thing. They have care for terminal inmates. And listen, I completely agree with you. I compare this to the Lockerbie bomber that killed 270 people. Remember, he got released in 2009 on compassionate grounds, and then he lived for 3 years. But what justice do the people and families that suffered have? So Madoff affected a lot of people, maybe not killed a bunch of people, but he also ruined people's lives. So it's going to be a no for me.
Oh, well, I think MJ disagrees with you. She says, I agree with compassionate release of non-violent offenders only. But I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one, MJ, because you're talking about what the level of what corruptness that this guy did, and like Lindsay said, who he affected into that level. So what you're saying is you're okay with big corporate, big pharma, big tobacco, all those people screwing over the little man and getting away with it because they got some sort of terminally ill disease or whatever. Let them sit in jail.
Thank you, Brent. You know what's so interesting about the psychology behind that, B, is that it's funny. If somebody robbed a liquor store and got $600, they'd be like, hey, you did it, you used the gun, mandatory 8.5 years. What Bernie Madoff did was the equivalent of robbing 600,000 liquor stores.
Totally.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, but he doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Like, man, miss me with that.
He didn't have a gun.
Yeah, yeah, he had a pen, which is way worse. Andrea from, Andrea or is it Andrea?
Let's go with Andrea.
I like Andrea.
Okay.
Andrea from Facebook says there must be plenty of people Madoff scammed dying because they are too poor for good health care. Great point. Let him suffer the same fate. Andrea, it's right. It's like, you know, when you get your case, when you get your sentence handed down, it doesn't say unless you get sick. This is the sentence that you've been given. And Bernie, let's do something you haven't shown your whole life and end it with some dignity.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, not only did he almost violently affect a lot of people's lives, his own son committed suicide.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you've done violent things.
I think famously he ripped off Jon Stewart's parents and like bankrupted them. Yeah.
Wow.
Great. Well, we hope we all agree on this one, yeah?
Yeah.
Write
That's
us
the
in if you
first.
disagree. Yeah, it's the first.
Let's
Coming
just
up.
argue anyway.
Are you still?
You're wrong now. You're wrong.
There we go.
I skipped you. I'm trying to be
Are you
nice.
guys done?
Yes.
Coming up on DBL, our new interview with Bill Pullman, what he really thinks about a possible Spaceball sequel, coming up next.
February is Black History Month, and DBL is honoring Black leaders who paved a way for future generations of Americans.
What you've been seeing here makes a lot of sense.
He was a professional football player, singer, civil rights activist, and actor, known for his leading role in Othello. He took part in anti-Nazi demonstrations and performed for the Allied forces during World War II.
Let's not forget our responsibility to our communities.
It's only a matter of time.
What's going on, you guys? What are we gonna talk about? Oh yeah, with Madoff, I don't know. I thought about this for a little while, because I'm like, oh yeah, he didn't kill anybody, but I'm like, he could have really drove people to many things. He affected tons of people. So, I don't know, the compassionate grounds, once the Lockerbie bomber just marinated and lived for 3 years, I was kind of like, he made it seem like he had days to live, and that's why they let him out of Scotland. No, it was.
I know it was Gaddafi was in Libya during that time period. I was just thinking of that case. Can I ask you a question though? Don't you think it's odd that Bernie Madoff would think they'd even let him out? Like, what a narcissist!
Why not try?
Yeah, you got to go for it. I get it. What he's doing.
Don't a lot of those mafia guys try and get out like that?
Sure, a lot of people do.
But Bernie Madoff is like the most
Some other
hated man
famous,
globally.
Criminal right now trying to get out. I just saw an article about it yesterday.
I guess he's just
I know what you're
so
talking about.
universally hated.
Tori, do you remember the person?
Really think that necessarily.
Yeah.
You showed me an article. I think a Black publicist is doing really well in the New York Times. One of my friends actually knew him and was telling me.
No way.
I saw that.
So, well, do you know any more about him? I kind of wanted to talk about.
Well,
it.
yeah, it's a he's doing like multimedia stuff.
don't know if it's still on her
Nate,
page.
or is it? I think it's Nate.
Yeah,
Hold
it
or
was Nate something.
Yeah, there was an article. If you guys don't ever read the New York Times, what I like about it is it gives me insight into things and experiences. Like I'm on the panel. Like it brings up information I would never have known. So there's this new PR guy that's doing extremely well, and he's sort of a multimedia guy, and I think we should know his name. Lindsay's gonna pull him up, and I'm gonna walk over here slowly. Okay. Sorry. Is it Birds of Prey?
20 seconds.
Dear God, I like when you guys do this so they can continue seeing it. How was your acting class last night?
It was good.
It was good?
10 seconds.
It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed.
Yeah.
Once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call
Perfect.
1-800-503-619. Get covered today.
Today's Sandals word of the day is romance.
Welcome back to DBL. USA's hit crime drama The Sinner is back for a third chilling mystery. Co-host Sam Shocker sat down with leading man Bill Pullman to talk about season 3 in today's Chatting with the Stars.
We are chatting with Bill Pullman, star of The Sinner. Bill, welcome back to DBL. And for those who don't know, Bill was one of the very first stars we ever chatted with here in the studio, the DBL studio, just a couple years ago.
The Daily Blast, man. It's a blast.
Awesome. So great to see you, and I'm so excited for the success of The Sinner. How are you?
Very good. Yeah, the first time we talked then was before The Sinner had started.
Yes, and I've become addicted, and I've been waiting for season 3. But what I love most is being able to play detective alongside with you. So considering, Bill, how disturbing The Sinner can be, how do you get into the mindset of Detective Ambrose?
You know, it's a first time that I've ever done this, a recurring series, and I think I lived in fear of what it was going to be like to get back into a character. But in fact, it's been like a really compelling and so surprising, you know. I think Nick has a hold on you. What does he want you to do?
I don't know. He's capable of anything.
And you aren't.
But let me ask you, because what's so unique about this show, and which is so fun for the viewer as well, is that you get to change casts, right? So you've acted beside Jessica Biel, Carrie Coon, now Matt Bomer for season 3. Do you have a favorite cast? You can be honest with me. And what's it like having Jessica Biel as your EP/boss?
And you know, when you get to work with, come to the set in the morning, you don't know what they're bringing to their game. You can't wait to get into it with them, and feel so grateful that I get to switch it up like that. And then in terms of working with Jessica as an EP, you know, it's been very interesting to see how she impacts a set so differently than other normally, conventionally. A producer shows up on the set and you go, okay, who's getting fired here today? Or something. And if you hadn't seen him for a bit. She's not that way. I think she has a different mission. It's like to lift the enterprise up a little bit.
Yep, uplift and empower. That's always the way to lead. I'm happy to hear that. I also want our viewers to know something about you, like your other chapter, so to speak. I think that they would be surprised to find out that you were a professor at Montana State University. And we heard, and tell me if this is true, that it was your students that finally encouraged you to go pursue film acting. Why was that, if it's true?
I never reported that it was my students that were saying you should go. It was they reported it first, because I was thinking, I'm happy, I'm good, right? I'm doing the best job possible. But they must have sensed that there was some itch that hadn't been scratched or something.
Well, good for you. It
It
paid off. Before we go, I have to ask, we've been waiting over 30 years, Bill, for a Spaceballs sequel. We got a second Independence Day, which was awesome, and it gives me hope. So, Bill, considering that Spaceballs is a sci-fi classic, will we ever get a sequel?
Yeah, I've always liked the fact that Mel set it up in this first one. He said, Spaceballs 2, the search for more money. He was honest.
So, Bill?
It's up to Mel.
I'm going to give him a call.
Yeah. Ask him if he's got too much money. That's why he doesn't do it.
It's always such a pleasure chatting with you. You're such an inspiration. Season 3 of The Sinner premieres tonight, February 6th on the USA Network. It is so good. I literally tell all of our viewers, you got to watch it. It's addictive. Thank you for joining us, Bill.
Good to talk to you, Sam.
So cool. So if you haven't seen The Sinner, I highly recommend it, just like Sam. We will be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Yeah, we got a code 3232, a filthy mascara user on the corner of your little and nasty. Yeah, I said it, y'all. I'm back with the Beauty Police, and today we're here to let y'all little nasties know it's time to put down that nasty mascara that you've been using for 2 years, girl. Ooh, I can't even. Let's bring it back, though. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you've seen it. Now, every now and then I come across a young lady, sometimes older, sometimes younger, sometimes a man, whoever, whatever, and they always seem to have a nasty old mascara tube from 2010 that they've been clutching on to because it was that one good mascara that works. But let me tell y'all, that is wrong. Y'all are doing it wrong. I'm gonna be writing you a beauty fine right now, honey, because you're treating yourself wrong. It's just nasty. Now, you may not know, mascara is not to be sticking around for a year, for 6 months, not even 4 months. Did you guys actually know mascara is only supposed to be used for 3 months? Y'all heard me right. 1, 2, 3. Let's say it in Spanish now. Uno, dos, tres. French. Un, dos, trois. I don't know. Anyways, you can't be keeping your mascara around for that long, guys. So I have a couple tips for you. If your mascara is starting to get flaky or dry when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go, okay? It's time for it to put it away. If your mascara doesn't make that sound when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go. It's wet. It's not wet anymore. You're putting on dry, crusty mascara onto those beautiful, luscious lashes. What's good, girl? One last one. If your mascara kind of has to like break off a little chunk of like dryness, put it down, sis. Like, you don't need that in your life. Put that old dirty mascara down. But that's all I'm gonna say for you guys this time. Just make sure you're throwing out that mascara every 3 months and buying a new one, all right? I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to follow me at Jeray for the Slay.
SpaceX needs a lot of help to get its next generation of spaceship off the ground, and they're looking for a lot of help right here in Texas. So how can you join Elon Musk's team? Let's connect the dots. Musk put out the call on Twitter, telling people to come to a, quote, Starship Career Day on Thursday near Brownsville. He said he's looking for everything, from engineers and supervisors to support personnel. And according to the experts, Musk is probably looking for production crews that can assemble the Starship prototypes. So also think welders, crane operators, and fabricators. And this would literally put you on the front lines of the future of space exploration. Musk wants to use this Starship to not only orbit the Earth and Moon, but eventually head to Mars. Originally, work was being done at Cape Canaveral and the Rio Grande Valley, but recently the focus has been on Texas. Connecting the dots, I'm Marcelino Benito for H-Town Rush.
Welcome back to DBL. We've all heard the term luxury, but depending on who you ask, it can mean different things. So Lexus really did this interesting study that looks at how different generations define luxury. We found it so fascinating. Check it out.
When it comes to luxury, automaker Lexus has stood out for decades as a premier luxury brand. So they asked more than 3,000 people what the term luxury means to them.
We are a very human-centric company. So we wanted to know how consumers defined luxury in these coming years. And boy, did we get some interesting results.
They found that 35% of older Americans and 42% of Gen Z and millennials want the luxury to digitally detox.
I think people finally are realizing that technology, from initially being something that people touted as making one's life simpler, actually have taken over people's lives, and I think they need a break.
The Future of Luxury survey also found that 73% prefer life experiences over material possessions.
People increasingly define luxury as an experience. Experiences are just as important as the goods or the services that they're purchasing.
And lastly, Lexus found that going green is a must for the future of luxury. 81% of Gen Z and millennials say it is a game changer.
So they're looking beyond just that product or that service that they're buying. They're looking to do business with brands that make a bigger, broader statement.
The biggest takeaway? Luxury now lies in the hands of millennials and Gen Z. They are the driving force for setting the new standards in status and buying power.
Fascinating. Lexus is working with engineers and design teams to make driving one of their cars an effortlessly wonderful luxury, not just about getting from point A to point B. So very quickly, I want to go around the horn. What's one word for luxury?
Lavish vacation.
Okay, that's two. Good.
I don't know how to count.
Cultured.
I would just say feeling special.
Feeling special.
When you sit in that seat, you just feel like it's just for you.
Yes. I like seamlessness. Okay. All right, we'll see you Monday, same time, same place. Stay luxurious, guys.
That's right.